All right, we're live. All right, I think we're live now. I got the Boz Man. Nobody in the room yet, but Boz Man and I are live. So we're gonna wait for some of you guys to show up. A bunch of people. I just got a thing there that said that live was available, but it is available now. And Boz Man and I are live. We got 4 people. We're starting to grow. Today we're talking about working dogs, and even though today we're talking about working dogs, right? Or the whole topic is going to be about working dogs, but Boz is not a working dog. Boz is our rescue, our mini dachshund rescue, who we love very, very, very much. And he's 17 years old. Boz is 17, and he's a saint. I mean, he's just the sweetest little dog in the world. And you wouldn't know that I'm talking about working dogs to get Boz, but the next thing we're going to do, our next live chat, is going to be about old dogs, senior dogs, how to care for them, how to love them, and all that. And then we'll talk about stuff like this. I'm going to put Boz in his crate right next to my desk here. And he might make some squawking and stuff like that. But might need my glasses here. All right, so we got a lot of people: Atlanta, Tennessee, Turkey, everywhere. Boz is going to be barking for a little while. So, hey, Jersey. All right, I love it, Jersey. That's the first place I lived in this country. So, thank you guys for tuning in. 81 people. We are at Mexico City. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Iowa, good. I love it. I love seeing all you guys here. Indiana, Illinois, Toronto, everybody representing Germany. Guten Abend. Probably 9 hours later by you, right? So you got to be looking at 7 o'clock at night. London, New York. Hope you guys are all staying really healthy and happy through this. Florida, I've lived in Florida, Connecticut, North Carolina, Montana, Columbia. I love it. Kentucky, Montreal. You know, I love when you guys do this. Actually, Janet's going to move Boz Man. There's Janet right there. She's here in the corner of the screen. I love when you guys tell me where you're from. It means so much to me to have you guys tuning in from all over the world. It really does. Thank you guys for being here. Lots of love to all you guys from Janet and I. And I hope you guys are enjoying your confinement as much as I'm enjoying with Janet. Finland in the house. I love it. You know, if you have a good relationship with somebody, it's kind of a really good thing to be confined with them because they can't get away from you. Oxford, UK, great. And you know, we're really enjoying it. We're baking. I'm embracing my baking roots. I'm making bread. I love baking. I'm a baking kind of guy. Puerto Rico, Ohio, Florence, Mississippi. Oh, Florence, Mississippi. I thought it was Florence, Italy. Illinois, California, Lithuania, Florida. Love it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Namibia. Always love people from anything from Africa. I love it. I've been to Africa a few times. And Jan and I are planning on going. I'm going to take Janet on her first trip to Africa soon. If you guys outdoors with a shotgun, my wife started obedience training with me last week. Very good, excellent. Hope you're doing good. Malaysia. I hope you guys are, hunkering down. Yes, I am Portuguese, and staying safe because there's all the conspiracy theorists who say it's a government thing. There's so many different messages on all this stuff that the only thing you got to do is stay safe. You can't mess this up. Just stay inside, stay safe, listen. It's a hard time. It's a hard time. We're all going through it, but try to make the best of it. Train your dog, read a book, bake, do something nice for your partner, do something nice for the world. And this is my part here that I'm doing live chats. And I did, very, very rare live chats in the past, but I started doing these more. I'm German and Portuguese, by the way, half and half, exactly half and half. And we're going to keep doing these, just to keep you guys, in touch with dog stuff, dog questions you have. So for me, if you're stuck with your dog, now, if I was a marriage counselor, I'd be helping you with that. I can't help you with that. I'm probably not very good at it. But what I want to do is talk about working dogs today. So if you're not going to ask me questions about working dogs, please don't post a question, right? So working dog issues to me are going to be based on Malinois, German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans, anything that's going to relate to working dog, protection dog sports, even if you're, obedience stuff, anything like that. I want to kind of focus on the personalities and temperaments and drives of working dogs. So those are where Can't see if there's super chat from Canada. I don't know why. That I don't know. Somebody else might be able to answer that. Um, and I want to really talk about, okay, by working dogs, you're talking obedience, also hunting. Yes, I'm not an expert on hunting dogs as far as the details of it, but I can tell you a lot about the temperaments and drives and stuff like that. Basically, the behavioral aspect of it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you great, in-depth things about how to train a dog for protection, although I've done it with my dogs. I'm not the expert on it, but I am the expert on behavior, and that's what I really want to talk about. So, okay, so here's a good question from Turkey. How much frisbee is too much for my Malinois? Excellent question, because I one time took Goofy and played too much frisbee with him, and I think it was unhealthy for him. He hurt his leg a little bit. So you have to watch your dog, especially a high drive dog like a Malinois. You're going to have a lot of issues with that dog doing things beyond their ability, beyond their physical abilities. And they're going to keep pushing themselves and pushing themselves and pushing themselves. And that's where you want to watch it. So you watch the individual dog. If the dog is under a year old, less jumping. It's very, very important. Can you have a working German Shepherd living indoors? Yes, you can. A lot of people do it, but you need to make sure the dog can get out. So the dog needs to have an outlet for their drives. You need to be able to get the dog out to a park, to incredible amount of, well, if it's a working line dog, you're going to want the dog to be doing protection working line stuff. And that's going to be contingent on, is there a club around, is there a field around where you can work the dog? My Malinois is going to be my service dog. I'm losing my sight. That's excellent. I hope you have somebody help you train the dog for that. Malinois is a very high drive dog. Not that the dog cannot get the job done, but it's a high drive dog. It's going to be a lot of dog for that. Generally, for sight dogs, you're going to want a dog like Jimmy, who's very, very low drive. Boxers and IPO, very good question mark. I've seen boxers do IPO. There's, it's a good dog for it. I was talking with Oscar Mora on my chat, and he was telling me how he loves seeing the Cane Corsos in it, that their drives are great for it. Boxers, by the way, have a lot more drive than a Corso, but it's a dog. It's a German dog. It can do it. Their bites are going to be a little bit different because they have a much shallower bite. The IPO is really based on very deep bites. IPO is judged very, very strongly on what we call a full grip, and that's really, really important. So, yeah, they can do it. Zydell says, why do you think Dutch Shepherds have not gained as much popularity compared to other high drive dogs? I think they have, actually. I think they've, in a lot of ways, have gained almost too much. But a Dutch Shepherd is going to be, in my opinion, a little bit stronger temperament than a Malinois, and this is why they're using it more for military dogs. Toy recommendations for Malinois. I don't do toys. I wouldn't recommend toys for working dogs, and the reason for that is a really important piece. Working dogs should be working. They shouldn't be playing on their own. So the problem people make with these dogs, they give them squeaky toys. They try to give them something to keep busy. The problem is when they're not busy. When they're not training, they shouldn't be busy. They should be chilling out. That's really, really important. So the only toy I would give my dogs would be, a marrowbone to chew on, or a Kong with some food in it. Wolf Canine, what's your opinion on American versus European bite clubs? There's a big difference. A lot of the Germans have been taking it down a few notches and trying to change things. But I've only worked with American bite clubs, so I've seen them try to push harder and harder and harder, and the Germans were trying to take out stick hits, for example, and then the Americans were upset about that. I think it's really up to the individual club. I mean, I think you can see people like Oscar. It does a great job training. He's a great balanced trainer. He doesn't go too hard on the dogs that can't handle it. He doesn't go too soft on dogs that need more. So I think it's really, really about that. Let me see. There was another question here. Okay, I have a 10-week-old Doberman, bites hard. How do I get him to not bite my hand so hard? I quit playing with him and give him no attention when he does, and he keeps doing it. So, he can't keep doing it if you're going away from him, right? You need to obviously put the dog away in a crate. And if the dog has that drive, then this is something the dog needs to have an outlet for. So the dog needs to be doing more of that. But at 10 weeks old, he's just being a puppy. And this is the number one question that I always get is, how do you stop a puppy from biting? And the bottom line is, you put the puppy away. You put the puppy in a place where they can't bite, and it's going to change a lot of that. How do you know when your dog is a good working dog? Jaden, that question is going to be answered simply by taking him to a protection dog club and letting somebody work the dog and see it, because it's not something I can really explain um, in detail. But the bottom line is, you're going to want to have a dog that's not going to shy away from the bite, that's going to be strong. It's going to be, you know, um, it's gonna want to do the sport. It's going to want to understand that. It's going to want to have a strong enough personality. Um, Elian, this was a good question. Between Malinois and German Shepherd, which one's better for a beginner and Schutzhund? 100%, I would say a German Shepherd, because a Malinois is just a lot of drive. They are, in a way, less forgiving. A German Shepherds are more forgiving. They take a little bit more strength. I hate to say that, but you can be a little harder on a German Shepherd, where Malinois take that very, very personally. Outdoors with a gun, my German Shepherd comes from working lines and show lines. Is there a difference in trainability? If so, please elaborate. It's going to depend on the temperament of the dog. Goofy has show lines in him. Goofy has working lines in him. It's going to really matter. The temperament of the dog is what's really going to matter in that matter. So just, you're going to have to see the dog. It's really an individual thing. Australian cattle dog mixes. What dog's first good? I don't know the temperament of the dog, but generally, Aussies are not going to be that great at protection things, because they're not as strong of a personality. Their drives are not. I don't want to say their drives, but their temperament is not as strong. Their constitution is not as strong to take the pressure of biting, of being hit, of being skeeved, of being stick hit, or anything like that. Don says, is tug okay to play with all dogs? Yeah, if they'll play, they'll play. I wouldn't recommend playing tug with dogs that are going to be. Here's a question up here. I want to make sure I don't forget. That are going to have real dominance or aggression issues. I definitely don't play with them unless you have somebody really working that with the dog. It can end up being dangerous. The dog can end up, redirecting and biting and not having a clear picture of the bite. This picture up here I wanted to get to. Is there a distinct difference between a personal protection dog and a guard dog? 100%. So a personal protection dog is a dog that's going to bite on command, that's going to do things based on the orders of the person. In other words, if I have my dog's personal protection dog is with me, and somebody starts acting up and doing something, that dog's not going to do anything unless I command him. A guard dog is basically like a junkyard dog, where they'll just go, they just bite anybody who comes into the yard. Not a really safe dog, but a lot of people for years had guard dogs that they just kept them around. Corey, thank you for the super chat. That's very, very cool. Thank you very much. Your puppy videos in your member section have helped me a lot with my new German Shepherd. She is progressing nicely. Nothing better than to have somebody come here on a super chat or any kind of chat and tell me that they're members of my membership section and that they're enjoying what they're getting out of my member section. If you haven't joined my member section, I'm not going to do a lot of plugging for it here, because you all know by now. robertcabral.com, that's where all my long detail lessons go. There's a new fun one going up today. Jan and I are about to shoot some more today as well. So Eric, very funny. I have a problem with my Malinois, Wolf Canine. We completed our Mondio Ring 1 trial, but we still sometimes have focusing issues while training at our club. Any suggestions? I don't know how old your dog is, but if you got through a Mondio Ring 1, I mean, if it was a really ugly trial, then it might not be good, but it's just a maturity thing. Dogs will lose focus, and the dog shouldn't lose as much focus in your field unless he's playing around too much there, and that might be, what you're facing there. Let's see. Okay, Cordell, I have a 9-month-old DDR Shepherd. She likes to bite, but she doesn't hit very hard yet. Is there anything I can do to get her intensity higher? Yeah, I have the helper put less pressure on her, right? Build her confidence. That's really, really important. A 9-month-old is young, but you also want, in that dog's maturity, you want to make sure the dog builds more confidence. And the more pressure the helper puts on the dog, the more that confidence, I feel, is going to be taken out of the dog. So the more she learns to win, the more her confidence comes up, up, and up. That's a real short answer to a long problem that you can fix. Let's see, what is here? How do you train a dog that started acting protective suddenly over me and my wife? I'm not going to be able to answer that because it's not a working dog question. I want to only stay with working dog question. Stop pooping in a kennel. You're going to have to, again, I'm going to try to stay only here with working dog questions. Let's see. Do I think Malinois can be a service dog? Agnes, great question. The problem is going to be the drive of the dog. Sometimes for service dogs, you need a lower drive dog. Malinois are super over the top in intensity and drive. That's why I don't think the same thing with pit bulls. I don't think they make that great of service dogs because they have a hard time just taking that drive down where it needs to be. Like if you look at a dog like Jimmy. Gerardo, thank you for the super chat. Very, very cool. Weaning my dog off the e-collar before I take him to Schutzhund Club after everything reopens. Why are some old school trainers against e-collars? Well, I don't really know if they are against e-collars. And I don't know why you're going to wean your dog off the e-collar before you take him to a Schutzhund Club, because I think you're going to want him on an e-collar and do some good, you'll have much more control over the dog when he's on an e-collar. So most old school trainers I've worked with all love e-collars done properly. Now, if they're really, really old school trainers, I don't know if anybody that old is still training. They just used to use throat chains because they didn't really have e-collars. So I wouldn't wean them off an e-collar too soon. Let's see. Outdoors with a shotgun. Great question. What's the number one mistake people make when training a working dog? Is I think they push the dog too hard, too fast. That's what I've seen. I think fairness. Again, look at a guy like Oscar Mora, my buddy who was on the chat the other day. Danny Craig, great trainer. They just support the dog. They love the dog. They give the dog. They take the dog step by step by step, all the way along. Michael says, "What's the best way to identify driving a puppy?" Going to be with something like rag work. It's going to be with something like handling the dog and all that. I am smelly. That's very funny. What tips do you have for someone who wants to get into IGP? Go to a club, find a really good club, visit 3 clubs. That's what I would do. Visit 3 clubs and then just watch how they handle the dogs, watch how they work the dogs, see how the dogs are working, right? See if the dogs are coming into the blind with a relaxed posture. They're happy, they're doing something, they're up, they're focused. That's what you want to look at. How happy the dogs are working is how I would base my decision on what club I would join. Little Ninja, thank you for the super chat. Very, very nice. My 8-month-old German Shepherd is great with people at their home or meeting them from outside, but if they enter the home, he is little Cujo. Crate or correct? Thanks for figuring out super chat. The number one thing you're going to want to do, I wouldn't overcorrect the dog, but if he's a German Shepherd, I don't know if he's working line or not, but I'm assuming he is, I would crate him and build his confidence so that he doesn't think that all people, if everybody comes in the house, he thinks is bad, he's going to get corrected, you're going to ruin the dog. So crate him, 100%. How do I work my 9-month-old German Shepherd to call off her protective drive when we have company that enters the home? Exact same question I just answered for Little Ninja. Crate. How old is your Labrador? Well, our Labrador. Oh, that's Janet. Janet's answering my question. I see the blue there. At least know it's Janet. Eric Taylor, a working good dog trainer in Chicago. Yeah, I would Google and Facebook. If you go to the USCA website, the United Schutzhund Clubs of America, you'll see every club that's a registered club. And by the way, try to go for a registered club. And also look for a USMRA, United States Mondio Ring Association. And just visit some clubs. Some dogs, like Malinois, do better with Mondio and French Ring. German Shepherds are always going to do better with IPO. So just see. Okay, somebody says you have a massive. Okay, what's this here? I have a massive issue with my DSH and her aggression towards my bike. When I bring out my bike, she goes from cool to bananas and she wants to destroy it. You need to start getting the dog used to the bike. The bike needs to be next to the dog when you're feeding the dog. Dog needs to be in the yard. You need to heel around the dog. You need to do a bunch of work around that dog to get around the bike to get the dog more neutral. That's simple. That's not that hard to do, but you're going to have to really hunker down. Crazy Casey says, I want to make my Malinois a working dog, but I don't have anything I need her to do. She won't let men anywhere near me, so I can tell she's alert and protective. What kind of job should she do? I wouldn't make her a protection dog if she's that protective over you, because she's already is showing very, very negative behaviors. Get to a working dog club and have somebody work that dog and assess the dog. Any trainer at any decoy or helper can do a really good job in assessing the dog and seeing if the dog's right for it. Know within a few minutes if the dog is right for it. A good e-collar. I'm going to do my e-collar series. And that's one of the things I'm going to really, really cover. There's a lot of good e-collars out now. Most of them are really good now. I like the Garmin. I like the e-collar technologies. I like some of the Dogtras. That's pretty much the only three that I would go with. Let me see here. Sue Fleming, do I have any tips to quiet a dog, a German Shepherd that leaks drive? She starts screaming when anticipates something she loves. Yeah, so we were just talking about that, Jan. I was just talking about that too. You need to really get the dog to calm down. The only way you're going to do that is to keep her excitement level lower. So you can't get the dog excited and yell at them and scream at them. You just have to tell them down, wait. When the dog is calm, wait an extra second, then release the dog. Although if you don't do it that way, you're not going to get the dog to ever lose it leaking. And it's a genetic thing. Leaking drive, that high, super high energy, it's a genetic thing. And a lot of times it can't be fixed. I hate to say that, but David Cummings, thank you again. Got a lot of super chats today. Thank you so much. Very, very nice of you. My 18-month-old Doberman loses drive for ball or rage in IPO. It's hard to get him drive for ball. I wish I could get him to work for my ball. Well, what I would do with that dog is I would put the dog on a harness, right, on an agitation harness, which I hope you already have, and make sure that you start to tease the dog a lot more with the ball. The dog should have no toys, right? So don't let the dog have any toys, nothing at all. Have them on a harness, tease them for the ball, throw the ball, they get the ball, take the ball out, do it again. And then at the very, very end of the session, I would tease the dog with the ball, and then I wouldn't give them the ball. I would take the ball away and then put the dog away, so that you always end the session that the dog doesn't get the ball, to build that drive. So the next time he tries harder for the ball. Let me see here. I'm trying to look to some of you guys asking a lot of questions in a row. I'm trying to get to a lot of different people so that we don't, it's more fair. Let's see. Garmin, Larry, you're right. Garmin's great. I mean, that's my right now, my number one go-to. I'm trying to work a deal with another company. I don't want to talk about them, about building a special collar that I'm designing. So we'll see. So let's see. Any advice for getting away with an e-collar in the UK? Yeah, I don't know. You guys have bad laws. A lot of you guys in Europe have really bad laws, and the people who are making these laws are really ruining it for your dogs. I mean, I would vote as much as you could do. I don't know any good PSA clubs in New York. In fact, I don't know any PSA clubs, period, right now. Fanny says, I have a 2-year-old Dutch Shepherd. He has an intense prey drive. Tried using the flirt pole to help her hone her skills. She lost interest and now prefers live squirrels. Well, if she has an intense prey drive, why would you use a flirt pole, right? Because a flirt pole is designed to build prey drives. That's the important part. And while I'm talking about all this stuff, can you guys just hit a couple more thumbs ups? Because we only got 44 thumbs up. That's pathetic for 170 people in the room. I always like to have equal thumbs up for people in the room. So let's get those thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please, at the end of this, I want to see 100 more subscribers, so that you guys know what, that when I'm going to be here and everything like that. 50, 72, now we're going up. Keep those thumbs up going. So yeah, I don't use a flirt pole for a dog that has intense prey drive. If a dog has intense prey drive, I use more tug work and stuff like that. Thank you, Maria, for voting. Tritronics. Yeah, Tritronic is Garmin. Garmin bought Tritronics out. I didn't like them in the beginning, but I like them. I like what Garmin has done with them. Wolf Cannon, thank you so much for appreciating my time. I'm glad you say that. That's very, very nice. Let's see. Getting a Malinois, any tips? Better do your research before you get that Malinois. I mean, that's all I can say, because you're going to be emailing 100 questions. Okay, my Malinois and German Shepherds mix focus better when his drive is lower. When his drive is turned on, he doesn't focus and listen to me as well. Any suggestions in getting better focus when he's in high drive mode? Yeah, so that's a great question. You want to make sure that you build that drive at the lower end, that focus in the lower ends of drive. So if the dog is really crazy for tennis balls and not as crazy for, let's say, a tug toy, then I'd work the dog with a tug toy, build that focus before I step him up. I'd find out what his levels are, what what really spikes his drive. If he gets really crazy drive for something, take it down a little bit, right? That's going to be a big thing. Don't bring a dog into a training scenario with something that just brings his drive through the roof and then expect him to be able to focus. He can't. It's impossible. So all that stuff needs to be done, slowly. Les, thank you for the super chat. Very, very nice. Noreda says, my 9-month-old Malinois barks at anyone who walks by whenever he's out in the backyard. Which command would divert him from doing this? Down. That's it, or recall him to you. But if the dog has that crazy drive, Goofy and Dwayne are over there. They have crazy drive. You shouldn't be letting him run around the backyard. That's a recipe for disaster. Denver Skinner, you said, could I explain? I don't know what you want me to explain. Recommendations for a rugged, waterproof, but not too bulky e-collar with bright light collar, like Mini Educator for night work. Mini failing after less than a year. If you have a problem with your in e-collar technologies collar, I would call the company directly. They're very, very, very good with stuff like that. I would definitely get hold of them and give them another shot. Hey, Goofy, come here. Where did he get? Oh, hang on a second. Goofy's got one of his articles. Come here, bring that here. Give me that. Hey, bring. Goofy brought me the number 6 article. Plots. You gotta lie down. See what it is? Janet moved Bosman's crate next to me, and Bosman's crate was actually keeping Goofy from getting to his articles. That's what happened. Wayne, lie down. All of you guys. All right. Anyway, Indonesia. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys are here from Indonesia. That's a long way to go. Somebody I think it's from Israel. What do you do when Goofy wants to play and you can't? I don't. That's the one thing the dog has to learn, that I start and I end all the play sessions. So, looking really interested in Amanda's question. Okay, I don't know what Amanda's question was. So just so you know these, okay, here we go. My red heeler is leaky and a lot like Maya. How can I be fair with my expectations for her during training, maybe eventually working cattle? She barks when herding, which is not desirable. No, it's not desirable at all. In fact, it's considered a flaw in anything when a dog leaks too much. So you want to make sure that you keep the dog in check. When the dog gets too crazy, stop them. If they're crazy, drivey, running around and leaking, then you need to take the dog and put the dog away. The dog needs to understand that will not get more work for them. All right. Jay's B, 8-year-old German Shepherd knows basic obedience training, but when he's around other dogs, he gets very anxious and bitey. Then you go back to your basic obedience. Wolf Canine, do you tend to agree you should cut down your training sessions short and effective and fun instead of long and 1,000%? Yeah, the shorter you make the training sessions, and Janet started doing this much better with Dwayne too. He would be out too much. So the shorter you can make those sessions, Dwayne is really well trained. Janet's done a great job on him. And it's because a lot of times she'll just take him out and train him for 10 minutes, 5 minutes or whatever it is. And that's what you got to think about. Don't overdo it for the dog. I'm going to just go off camera for 1 second. I got to blow my nose. And I don't have coronavirus. All right, let's see. Let's see. How young is too young for my GSD? I don't know. Too young for what? I don't know the question. For a prong collar. At 9, I think you said she's 9 months old. 9.5 months old is fine for a prong collar. Please watch my video on prong collar, on conditioning a dog to a prong collar using leash pressure. It's something we did with Dwayne early on. It just worked like a charm. So super, super, super hard to super unfair to a dog to just put him on a prong collar, start yanking him around. I'm going to do another prong collar video coming up real soon that will talk more about that. Little Ninja, I already answered your question, but I'll give you the second one too. 8-month-old German Shepherd walks in heel, but will forge forward, correct, or turn 180. Those are both the same thing. You're going to correct the dog by doing 180. Doing this a lot and feeling like I'm nagging him, especially too much at his age. I don't think it's too much at his age. You want to get that fixed early on. So I would, leaky means a dog that's like whining or barking because they're not getting what they want. 2 puppies, 11 weeks old, sisters. Would you train them separately? I would have never gotten 2 puppies at the same age. Yes, you're going to train them separately, but it's going to be a nightmare. I'm sorry. If you guys are here and you're going to get a dog, do not get Litter mates, do not get 2 dogs the same age. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And but hey, we're at 30 minutes almost. I've been chatting with you guys and only have 108 thumbs up and 185 people here. 185 people can easily go in there and give me a thumbs up. Okay, Mrs. Jones says, "Should you master a command before teaching another?" And the answer to that is no. The answer to that is you don't need to master things before you go to the next thing. You should always be teaching your dog something and be perfecting things as you go along. My philosophy has always been teach your dog everything and have them good at everything, but not perfect at anything. And that's something I got into a disagreement with a really old school German trainer. He said, your dog is good at everything, but he's not great at anything. And at that point, I think he was maybe Goofy was a year and a half old. And I said, well, that's good because that's exactly what I've been training him for, right? I want him to be exposed to everything. I want him to have a knowledge or an understanding of everything. And then I can choose to perfect what I want to perfect and see what he can do. If I perfect everything and everything is perfect, 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 when I bring new things and he's not going to be perfect at them anyway. So it makes no sense for the dog. Please understand that you want your dog. And by the way, the whole thing is you want your dog to have fun during training. Training must be fun. And if it's fun or experiencing it, they're doing something with it. They're loving it. So, really good. Wolf Cannon, what's your favorite bite work sport? We Germans tend to move away from IGP and Mondio Ring. Gets more and more attention because it's something absolute different. Yeah. So the reason Mondio Ring is more popular than IPO is because a lot more younger people are into it. It's a more fun sport. IPO has kind of been. I mean, first of all, I will tell you that I like IPO. IPO, IGP, whatever you want to call it. Schutzhund is what I call it. I like it. I don't know why it's my favorite, but it is my favorite. So it's losing a lot of people because it's not as fun of a sport. That's the bottom line. That's it. What age can I train for my dog protection work? It's going to start at 8 weeks, right? Protection work starts at 8 weeks because you're going to focus on basic obedience, basic tug work, basic frustration work, agitation work, getting dogs exposed to being handled a lot. That's really, really, really a big thing to do. And Jen wants to know how to give a thumbs up. If somebody can tell her how to do that'd be great because I don't know how to do it. Tips on a 9-week-old German Shepherd, when to begin strict type training. Well, first of all, there's no strict type training early on for a dog. Early on, it's all fun training. Training should be fun for the dog. The dog should experience. You make training too strict on a too young of a dog, and you will crush the dog. The dog will definitely never do protection work because in protection work, the dog, hey, Goofy, lie down. No more articles. The dog will definitely never have the confidence because being too strict with the dog starts to shut off that dog's natural ability to be more pushy. Let's see. Play tug of war. Does it make your dog mean? No, it's complete misconception. Actually, builds a dog's confidence, builds their defensive drives, builds their willingness to want to work with you. Tug is one of my very, very favorite things to do with my dog and with any dog, as long as the dog doesn't have underlying aggression issues. It's really, really important. What build a bond with your dog the best, the most? Man, just abundant playing with the dog, praising the dog, interacting with the dog. That's what builds the dog. The bond is through training. It's through interaction. It's through fairness. It's not being super hard on the dog or super forgiving. It's being very, very balanced with the dog. Goofy. Which command can I teach my German Shepherd 6 months old to attack my cattle? Oh, to don't attack my cattle. Well, you're going to need to teach the dog structure, but dogs, it's a natural shepherd, so it shouldn't be attacking your cattle. Shepherds naturally should herd your cattle. Maybe if I don't know what you're going to do with the dog, but I would put some structure on the dog that he knows not to attack the cattle, and tell him a good yuck or fooey or leave it command, and don't leave him alone with the cattle, because the more he gets away with it, the worse it's going to get. That's really, really going to be important. Let's see here. Okay, you keep asking the same question here, Israel, because you've got the Hebrew name, so I'm going to answer this for you. Your 4-month-old is barking when we leave him outside at the garden so we can eat. What should we do? I would crate the dog, right? Crate the dog and ignore the dog till he stops barking. When he stops barking, then give him attention. All right. Your zippity doodah says, "I adopted a 2-year-old Rottweiler, now 3, started to bark, lunge towards vehicles, people during walks, but is fine when away from home area. We are his third home." Any video suggested videos? Any videos, right? Any videos that will teach this dog a good, strong structure, that you're in charge, because the dog is doing this because he feels like it's either a prey drive issue or a protection issue. And whatever he's doing, he is doing that because there is a lack of structure. If you're his third home, there's obviously a lack of structure. So if you don't give him the structure, he's going to be on his fourth home. So be very, very, very uh, cognizant of that. Somebody said something. "I'm looking for a herding dog for ducks primarily, but would like it to have some protection instinct as well. What breed do you recommend?" It's not about what breed I recommend. I mean, they teach herding on ducks to start with Malinois, with Aussies or anything like that. It's the way they start teaching them. It's going to be on the structure that you're willing to give that dog, because if you don't, it's going to eat the ducks. So it's got a good structure, but dogs naturally will herding dogs will naturally herd ducks because they'll function real similar as sheep or whatever. They're meant to be herded. Somebody asked me a question here. What are the most essential tools for working a new dog puppy to build, drive, and prepare him for serious bite work? It's going to be a harness, a really solid harness. I like the harnesses that are over at Learberg. I think they're really, really well made. I've got no deal with Learberg, but I'm telling you that I do like them a lot. Have you ever watched America's Top Dog on A&E? If so, what's the one thing you think the competitors lack the most? I don't think they lack anything. I like the show, Janet. I watch it. What I don't really like about the show is that it's just the same thing, day after day after day, and it's kind of a weird thing that they're having, 2 or 3 military dogs on, and then they're having a pet dog on that's kind of trying to do the same thing. It's not a really fair competition, but I think a lot of the pet dog people probably, and they're not pets; they're working dogs, train the dog just as well. So yeah, it's there's no e-collar. I have not done anything on e-collars yet because I'm working on it, and I will get you that, I promise. Janet, e-collar. All right, your Malinois Beku Star says your Malinois displays natural herding instinct. He herds the cats for dinner and his doghouse mates in and out for potty. How can I hone this and make it a command? I would take him to a herding training, right? So because you want to get him to understand it in a bigger picture. It's not really something that I would tell you to start putting a command to. I would make it I would teach him the structure. Ray Allen does make good protection equipment. It's very, very true. Let's see. 2 intact males in household along with females loose. I'm always training my dogs. I have Amstaffs and GSDs. 2 intact males, you just have to keep structure. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not hard to do. I've done it. I've had intact females and intact males, but when it goes into the time of when the female goes into heat, you got to get them separate. You got to keep one out of the house. All right. How often should I put my 8-week-old German Shepherd in the crate? I can only endure so much of her crying. Well, if she's crying a lot in the crate, you're not doing the crate right, because in the crate she should calm down. And if you're taking her in and out of the crate when she's crying, then you're going to make it a bigger problem, and that you'll never fix it. So work on my crate training. Elite Canine is good too. Yeah, I can tell you all the good brands, but I'm not going to go through that. I'm not doing a commercial here. But what I am doing a commercial for is, if you like what we're doing here and you like my training videos on YouTube, first of all, subscribe to the channel. That's very, very important. If you haven't done that, oh, Goofy unplugged the light. If you haven't done that yet, then you should go do that. But the other thing too is join my member section. I'm going to go plug the light back in. Goofy tripped over it. Hang on one second. I'm back. Goofy tripped over the light, and then it gets all grainy and everything, so we don't want to do that. All right. My husband likes to mix raw meat in our Belgian family food. Is that a good thing? Yeah, it's funny because my wife likes to do that. Janet likes to do. Who's not my wife yet, but she likes to do that. I do raw and then kibble. I don't mix them. I learned that from a friend of mine, Danny, who said, give your dog raw one meal, kibble another meal, if that's what you're going to do. My dogs currently eat raw. Goofy and Maya are on raw, and then Jimmy and Dwayne, you get a little bit of raw in with that. Gossip with Maya, this is live, right? Yeah, it's live. Don't you see people chatting? It says live in the top corner. And we're up to 151 thumbs up. I'd like to get that up to 200. Come on, guys. You can do it. You can do it. Raymond, you say you're not getting anything from this format. Well, then you logged into the wrong format, pal. You know, this is talking about working dogs. If you're not getting anything from it, check back on another format, because I think a lot of people are getting a lot out of it. So, what's the difference between a working line German Shepherd or Malinois? I've heard Malinois are more sensitive to corrections. Yeah, Malinois overall as a breed are much more sensitive to handling corrections and take things much more personally than German Shepherds. German Shepherd you can give really hard correction to, and that's just what it is. You know, Malinois. I like Malinois, but German Shepherds are a little easier, I think, than that. Don Latendry, raw meat is full of bacteria. Is it good or bad? I don't know. I don't understand the question. You know, if people who are leery on feeding raw meats because they say it's dangerous, and it can be dangerous. I'm sure it can be. I don't know that, but I'm going to say this. Read up on how many dog foods get recalled for bacteria and salmonella and stuff like that. So bear that in mind. I'm not here to tell you should feed your dog raw or not. I have done both. I've fed my dogs raw. I've fed my dogs kibble. I've seen my dog do extremely well on both. I've always fed good quality foods. All right. Okay, here's a great question. Wolf Canine, last question. You guys got to easy up on these questions here. By the way, 40 minutes. This is going to be the longest chat we've done. I'm going to end it in 4 minutes. How to get my dog to have a constant, nonstop bark on command, like what you would need in IGP. My mouth stops after 2 to 3 barks. Do I just reward if he barks for a long time? So the way you build a long bark is to have it short and add a little bark on top of it, a little bark on top. So if you can get the dog to bark 5 times, next day try to get him to bark 6 times. Then abundant rewards, right? And then you can add 7, 8, 9, and you'll build it much, much faster than if the dog starts to stop and then you try to start again, stop and start again. Just get the dog to do what he's doing and reward for what he's done. I don't want to get into too much on the raw feeding here. It's one of those things that's a personal thing. I'm not going to defend it or go against it. Whatever you want to do. Somebody has mentioned something here on Netflix documentary of raw diets. Yeah, it was on Amazon. I think Janet and I watched it. What was the name of it? Pet Fooled. That was the name of that. You should watch that. Yeah. And yeah, by the way, those of you who are doing, thank Janet for helping out. Just a big help to me. She's moderating and she's kind of getting rid of a lot of morons who are, I saw a couple of them get scriped. If you're going to come in here and be a fool, then you're going to get thrown out. I don't know what gossip with Maya. I don't know why are all these things here, what you're doing. I mean, it looks like you're just trying to spam here, gossip with Maya. So I'm going to have Janet block you. Okay, Denise says, your videos are great, but your member section is gold. My rescue 2.5-year Shepherd mix has a crazy drive and loves to bite. Not sure about his nerves, but I want to visit a few clubs shortly. Any thoughts? First of all, thank you for that super chat, Denise. That's very, very nice of you. You should visit some clubs. I mean, that's going to be the thing. I don't know where you were located, but go to USCA and check out some clubs and just visit them. I mean, just look at, see what they're doing to the dogs. You should be able to visit anytime. You should be able to show up and watch them train their dog. They should be a balanced club. They should use e-collars. They should use prong collars. They should use regular chains. They should be working the dogs. The dog should be happy. The dog shouldn't be screaming and any of that. So that's really, really important. And thank you for the super chat. It's very, very nice of you. Very kind. And yeah, those of you who are not members of my membership section, I have had 0 complaints from people who are members of the member section at robertcabral.com because the videos are very intense. They're very deep. They're detail oriented. There's a new one every week. So let's see. Do you think people who train in protection sports have false expectations that their dog would necessarily be good at actual protection and real stress? Yeah, you don't know that. You definitely don't know that, because if you it's a game for them, right? And it's very conditioned. It's the same helper. It's the same bite. It's the same this, same that. They turn on the dog and will do the stick hits on the dog and put the pressure on the dog the exact same way every single time. So yeah, if somebody breaks in your house, and let's say the dog is used to working with a small, black guy who's at your club, who's the helper, and suddenly a big, white guy breaks into your house and puts, is trying to hurt your dog, the dog might not be used to it. So it's very conditioned, and some dogs are very good at handling pressure. Some dogs are not, and even a dog that might not handle pressure well can be taught protection dog sports because it's easy on them, because it's taught in a very, very fair, non-pressured manner. Max Schneider, thank you very much for the super chat. Sherry, thank you for the super chat. A lot of super chats today. This has been a really, really fun day. Okay, I think we got one more. Sherry Cordova. Wow, thank you so much. You guys have been really good. Let's see. Some of you guys here that are giving some advice, very nice. Thank you so much for doing that as well. I'm going to do the last question here. It's going to go to Mark. You want the pinch to be tight so it stays high up on the neck. Is it designed? It is designed. Oh, okay. So I guess you answered a question of somebody. Do you think that spayed females are more likely to become overweight? Yes, 1,000%. David, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, it's normal that when you spay a female, when you neuter a male, you're taking their hormones out of their bodies, and they're going to be more likely to become overweight. Simple as that. You just need to exercise your dog. So, hey, Ian, nice to see you. Thank you very much for coming in. No halty collars. And whoever's advising you a halty collar, please don't advise it in my chat. I'm very against them. I don't like them. I'm gonna wrap it up on that. Okay. It's over 45 minutes, 194 people tuned in. A lot of people have tuned in. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. I'm glad you guys are all here. Janet saying hi to David. I don't know. Is it Dave? Who's David? Janet, who's David in here that you're saying hi to? Somebody I should know? Is it one of our friends? Anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up on that. So let's continue. We're gonna do the next chat. It will be on senior dogs. So I'm theming all these live chats to kind of keep us on target. I appreciate you guys coming in. Really appreciate you guys training your dogs. Keep a really positive attitude. Everything is great. I mean, life is great. You woke up today, you got your dog, you've got your health, you've got your partner, your wife. I've got Janet. We've got our dogs. We are so happy. We're just trying to be as optimistic and positive, because that's what it's all about. If you got right now, you got a free, chat, a fun chat from me, hanging out with me. And I mean, how could you be any more happy or rewarded than to spend 47 minutes with me? Thanks for being here. I will see you guys soon. Next chat, I'm going to announce it on the front of robertcabral.com. If you have not signed up for my membership section, you can do that. It's $9.95 a month. Tons of stuff in there. New video going up today. It's going to be how to teach your dog to spin right and to spin left. It's a really fun little thing that Janet and I do with Dwayne. I think you're going to love it. If you can get over there and join, great. If you can't, follow my YouTube channel. There's tons of stuff here. Please subscribe to the channel right away. Before you leave today, hit the bell, hit that bell, and subscribe. Thank you, Janet, for helping me today. You're the best. I love you. And that's it. See you guys next time.